Did Bang's Si-hyuk finally react? A viral Rapline moment is being read as proof BTS is battle ready. So, where does Jungkook truly stand? Seoul, December 13th, 2025. What if the most powerful signal in today's K-pop landscape is not an announcement, not a teaser, not even a statement, but silence? And what if that silence belongs to the one person whose reactions have historically shaped the fate of BTS more than anyone else? Bang Si-hyuk. Over the past 48 hours, the global BTS fandom has been locked into a state of collective analysis, sparked by a viral fan post celebrating BTS's Rapline. On the surface, it looked harmless, even nostalgic. But beneath that simplicity, fans believe they are witnessing something far more deliberate, a quiet confirmation that BTS is not only preparing to return, but already mentally and creatively battle-ready. What has fueled this belief is not what Bang Si-hyuk said, but what he did not say. The post, uploaded by a well-known fanbase account on X, featured candid, behind-the-scenes images of RM, Suga, and J-Hope, collectively known as BTS's Rapline. The images quickly went viral, pulling in tens of thousands of likes and reposts within hours, reigniting a level of excitement many believed had been muted during the group's military hiatus. To longtime army. The reaction was immediate and emotional, but it was also analytical. The Rapline has always represented more than performance within BTS. They are the group's ideological core, responsible for much of its lyrical direction, musical identity, and long-term narrative. When RM, Suga, and J-Hope appear together in an unpolished, working environment, fans do not see nostalgia. They see preparation. The inclusion of V, playfully positioned alongside the Rapline, only added another layer of intrigue. Known primarily as a vocalist, V's presence blurred creative boundaries once again, reminding fans that BTS thrives precisely when roles are fluid and experimentation is encouraged. It felt familiar, almost too familiar, like the early signs of an era forming rather than a memory being revisited. Yet amid all this visibility, one name stood out for its absence: Jungkook. Jungkook's absence from the central narrative quickly became the most discussed element of the viral moment. Not because fans felt he was being excluded, but because BTS has never operated without intention. Jungkook, often described as the group's center and global gateway, is rarely invisible unless there is a reason. For many fans, this absence does not suggest distance, but design. Speculation began to spread that Jungkook may be positioned differently in the group's post-military strategy. While the Rapline appears to be signaling stability and readiness, Jungkook's silence has fueled theories that he is being prepared for a role that is larger, more isolated, and potentially more impactful. Some believe he could be the bridge between BTS's individual activities and their full-scale reunion. Others suggest that holding him back visually is meant to amplify anticipation for a future reveal, and once again, Bang Si-hyuk's silence sits at the center of it all. Historically, Bang Si-hyuk has never rushed to clarify fan speculation unless it threatened the group's direction. His leadership style favors organic momentum, allowing narratives to build naturally before stepping in. In this context, his lack of response to the viral Rapline post has been interpreted not as indifference, but as quiet approval. Industry observers note that if the post had conflicted with BTS's plans, it would likely have been downplayed or ignored by larger media channels. Instead, the discussion has been allowed to grow, spreading across platforms and regions. That permission alone has been enough to convince fans that something is moving behind the scenes. The timing only strengthens that belief. With all BTS members nearing the completion of their military service, expectations for 2026 are already high. Yet no official comeback schedule has been released, no promotional cycle initiated. What fans are receiving instead are fragments, subtle appearances, casual moments, and now a Rapline-centered narrative that feels grounded and intentional. This approach aligns closely with BTS's history. Major eras have often been preceded by understated signals rather than loud declarations. When the group shifts direction, they tend to let fans feel it before they announce it. The Rapline's sudden visibility fits that pattern almost too perfectly. So the question remains unavoidable. If this is not a sign of preparation, why does it feel so deliberate? If this is not the groundwork for a return, why center the group's creative backbone first? And if Jungkook is not present now, what kind of moment is being reserved for him? Bang Si-hyuk may not have reacted publicly, but the fandom has already drawn its conclusions. To ARMY, this moment feels less like coincidence and more like a quiet countdown. A reminder that BTS does not need elaborate promotions to command attention. Sometimes, all it takes is presence, absence, and a silence that feels heavier than any statement. As speculation continues to grow, one thing is clear: BTS is once again controlling the conversation without saying a word. And when the silence finally breaks, fans believe it will not be accidental. The only remaining mystery is how and when Jungkook steps back into the frame, and whether that moment will redefine not just the group's return, but the next era of BTS itself. The tension surrounding this moment continues to intensify precisely because nothing has been officially confirmed. And yet, in the BTS universe, confirmation has never arrived in straightforward ways. It arrives through timing, through alignment, through the collective intuition of a fandom that has spent more than a decade learning how this group communicates without speaking. What makes this situation different from ordinary speculation is the emotional temperature surrounding it. Fans are not reacting with panic or frustration. Instead, there is a sense of controlled anticipation, as if ARMY recognizes a familiar pattern unfolding. The reemergence of the Rapline at this specific juncture feels less like fan service and more like structural reinforcement. Before BTS expands outward again, it appears to be grounding itself in its foundation. That foundation, historically, has always been rooted in authorship and intent. RM has long been the group's philosophical anchor, shaping narratives that extend beyond trends. Suga represents precision, restraint, and emotional realism, often confronting uncomfortable truths without dilution. J-Hope brings balance, translating intensity into accessibility without losing depth. When these three are visually framed together in a working context, fans do not read it as coincidence. They read it as alignment. This is why Bang Si-hyuk's continued silence has become so provocative. As the architect behind BTS's long-term vision, Bang Si-hyuk has always understood the power of narrative restraint. In an industry addicted to constant exposure, his greatest strength has often been knowing when not to intervene. Allowing speculation to grow unchecked can be risky for many artists. For BTS, it has historically functioned as oxygen. Observers within the industry have begun to point out that this moment feels strategically placed between eras. The group is no longer in hiatus, yet not officially active. They exist in a liminal space where every small appearance feels magnified. In that space, even a fan-curated moment can take on the weight of an unofficial signal. And when leadership chooses not to redirect that signal, it becomes part of the story. The absence of Jungkook continues to dominate that story. For years, Jungkook has functioned as BTS's emotional conduit to the global mainstream. His voice, presence, and adaptability have often made him the entry point for new listeners. To remove him from the immediate visual narrative is not to diminish his importance, but arguably to protect it. Some fans believe Jungkook's positioning is being carefully preserved for maximum impact. In previous BTS eras, moments centered around him have often marked turning points rather than introductions. His reappearance, when it happens, tends to signal escalation. This has led to a growing theory that Jungkook's next visible step will not be casual, but definitive, designed to reset the global perception of BTS's return rather than ease into it. At the same time, the unexpected inclusion of V alongside the Rapline has added emotional complexity to the conversation. Taehyung's presence felt intimate rather than strategic, playful rather than promotional. Yet that, too, aligns with BTS's pattern. Before major shifts, the group often emphasizes internal chemistry, reminding fans that beyond strategy and scale, BTS remains a collective rooted in trust and creative freedom. This blend of intimacy and restraint is precisely what keeps fans engaged without exhaustion. There is no overexposure, no forced narrative. Instead, there is space to wonder, space to connect us, space for anticipation to build organically rather than being manufactured. And anticipation right now is the most valuable currency BTS possesses. Global media attention has already begun circling this moment, not because of what has been announced, but because of what feels imminent. Analysts note that very few groups can generate this level of sustained attention without releasing music, visuals, or schedules. BTS continues to do so simply by existing in fragments. That alone suggests a confidence that few acts in the industry can afford. As discussions grow louder, one question continues to echo above all others. If this is merely nostalgia, why does it feel forward-looking? If this is coincidence, why does it align so cleanly with BTS's historical patterns? And if Si-hyuk truly had nothing to react to, why does his silence feel so deliberate? For now, there are no official answers. Only signals. Only timing. Only a fandom that has learned to listen not just to music, but to absence, restraint, and silence. And perhaps that is the real story unfolding beneath the headlines. BTS does not announce its return in obvious ways. It allows the world to feel it coming first. When the foundation is shown, when the center is withheld, and when leadership chooses silence over denial, it suggests not uncertainty, but control. The question is no longer whether BTS is preparing for something. The question is how much of this preparation the world is meant to see before the moment finally arrives. And when it does, many believe it will begin not with noise, but with the return of the one figure currently missing from the frame, Jungkook, stepping forward at precisely the moment when anticipation can no longer be contained. What sharpens the intensity of this unfolding narrative is how familiar it feels to those who have followed BTS from the beginning. This is not the first time the group's quiet movements have spoken louder than official statements. In past eras, the most consequential shifts were never introduced with fanfare. They were felt first, understood later, and only then confirmed. This is why many fans believe the current moment is not about hype, but calibration. Behind the scenes, BTS is no longer navigating uncertainty. They are navigating precision. After years of global dominance, followed by an intentional pause for military service and personal growth, the group is returning to an industry that changed in their absence. New acts have emerged, trends have accelerated, attention spans have shortened. Yet none of that seems to apply to BTS. If anything, the hunger feels sharper now than it did before, and that is where the Rapline's visibility becomes crucial. RM, Suga, and J-Hope have always been the internal compass of BTS. When the group needs to redefine itself, they are the ones who write the language of that reinvention. Seeing them together in a non-performative context suggests not celebration, but assessment, as if the group is checking its core before expanding outward again. For fans, this is reassuring. It signals stability before spectacle. Si-hyuk's silence reinforces that reading. His leadership has never been about reacting to every viral moment. Instead, he has historically allowed BTS's internal rhythm to dictate external messaging. When he remains quiet during moments of intense speculation, it often means the speculation is not disruptive. It means it aligns closely enough with reality to be useful. That alignment is what makes Jungkook's continued absence feel so intentional. Jungkook has always represented forward motion for BTS. He is adaptability personified, capable of shifting between genres, audiences, and emotional registers without losing authenticity. In many ways, he is BTS's future-facing member, the one who absorbs change and translates it into something universally accessible. To withhold him now is to withhold the future itself. Fans are increasingly convinced that Jungkook's reappearance will not be casual. It will not be folded quietly into a group photo or a spontaneous update. It will arrive with meaning, with weight, possibly even as the opening move of the next era, rather than a continuation of the last one. Some believe his role may extend beyond music alone. Others speculate that his positioning could redefine how BTS balances individual prominence with collective identity going forward. What unites these theories is not anxiety, but trust. Trust built over years of watching BTS defy predictable patterns. The emotional undercurrent of this moment cannot be ignored. For ARMY, the viral Rapline content did not just spark excitement. It reopened a sense of closeness that had been carefully paused, not broken. The familiarity of casual clothes, shared spaces, and unguarded expressions reminded fans why BTS feels different from other global acts. They have always invited fans into the process, not just the product. That invitation feels active again. At the same time, the industry is watching closely. Media outlets, analysts, and competitors are all aware that BTS does not return lightly. When they do, they tend to reset expectations rather than follow them. The current restraint suggests confidence. A group uncertain of its footing would rush to reassure. BTS is doing the opposite.